Hey everyone, today we're going to be diving into Avatar Fire and Ash, the last epic from James Cameron. It's visually jaw dropping, emotionally intense, and honestly, it doesn't feel like a 3 hour movie. For me, the big question is, does it live up to the hype in terms of the overall story and character arcs? So let's find out about that. That's what we were here to talk about. Some spoiler warnings, quick heads up. From here on out, we're going to be going the full spoiler territory. If you haven't seen Fire and Ash yet, please go out and then watch that. Come back if you guys maybe want a little bit of like some context. I'm also going to be kind of going over a little bit of the movie as well, and also we'll check out a little bit of Twitter potentially. Sorry, I keep looking this way. I got the camera up here today, so if you see me like doing that, sorry. It's also around 3 in the morning, so that's why I'm a little bit more of like script oriented today, just to help me keep me organized so I don't ramble on too many points. So, all right. So a quick plot rundown. Fire and Ash takes us into a darker, more violent Pandora. We meet the Ash people, a fire tribe that ends up entangled with Quaritch and the RDA. There are volcanic battles, tense alliances with more aggressive Na'vi, and a lot of family drama as Jake Sully tries to hold everything together. Spider, the human, a kid raised among the Na'vi, gets his big arc, and Natiri faces some real emotional gut punches. In the short, it's visually stunning, but the narrative is a complex ride. Overall, when it comes to that, I thought genuinely that during the movie we would have. Originally, I thought the movies would be more based on the Ash tribe, right? Like I thought this was going to be more of like a Navi versus Navi, but we got kind of like what pretty much Pandora or what Avatar 2 was. It felt very similar in a lot of that sense. It was very much like what's his name, Quaritch was or Colonel, whatever his name was, he was kind of like the main, the main guy, main bad guy, right? Just like the first one, just like the second one. It was okay. They still had all the connection with the RDA. Like they never really did anything with the RDA after the movie or after the second movie. So that's why I felt like I don't know. I felt like they were destroyed and they were kind of gunned down. I didn't think that they would make this miraculous comeback. I thought it'd be a little bit, but they did. I really wasn't like I liked Spider as an actor. I thought he did overall a really good job in it. And I'm gonna give him his props there. But I kind of felt like he had a lot of screen time because I didn't really realize how much the story was gonna be based around him. Like there's just one scene that they have to show why, and this is again spoiler warning right here, that they have to show why because like they weren't gonna have him run around with the mask all day, right? Like that wasn't gonna make any sense. So they had to kind of figure out and give him a reason to kind of be there more because like he was running out of battery. So the girl, which we end up again another spoiler, we end up finding later is a clone from the doctor that died in the first movie. So during the process when they were doing the transfer of the one to other, and they're going back and forth, that's when we saw. I guess there was like this little egg thing that was there, like an egg, like an embryo, if you want to call it. So yeah, I mean, she's a clone, so she technically doesn't have a dad. So I mean, hey, she doesn't need a dad or whatever. She has the mother or the god, right? The mother, she'll guide her. But that's where Jake Sully then comes back and reminds, like, well, I'll be your father and stuff. But she does this whole magical power, and you guys know the big floating, those little, not big, but the little floating things. Yeah, she just grabs it, takes it out. I'm not gonna lie, I think Disney's gonna sell it as a candy, but they're gonna take it out, and she was like, oh wow, look at this, and they just like shoved it right in the dude's mouth, and they did the whole body train. When they did the same ceremony, and then they brought him back, and he started breathing. I guess they pretty much gave him like this. I don't want to call it a fungus or something along that line. Filled up his lungs and pretty much put him in. He was like allowed him to breathe and allowed him to live and be amongst them. So that's where you kind of saw this underlying racism amongst the Navi. I think they used the term pink skin, which I'm not gonna lie, that's actually fucking hilarious. But they were using that, and they were kind of had this like oh wow, like now the humans, like they're gonna start breathing, they're gonna conquer us, which probably would happen. I mean, come on, if the humans had the ability to breathe on this planet, they probably would do all this conquering and divide and conquest or whatever. um yeah, like I said, like I thought it was fine. I really wish they kind of like, okay, Spider, there's your moment. Your main moment is the you are the first human to breathe on Pandora. Cool. That could be your moment. Let's end that plot point, and then we can kind of get on to the rest of the story because I wanted to see more of Sully take the action, and I'll get into it a little bit later here. But all right, so let's go hop on a different point. Let's talk about some positives. The visuals are beyond breathtaking. No surprise there. Pandora's new fire and ash landscapes are both beautiful and brutal, making the world feel more alive than ever before. The acting is top notch. Saldina as Natiri delivers her powerful moments, which, yep, 100%. And the whole cast really brings out their A game. Like, that I honestly do believe that. I mean, the entire cast acting was unbelievable. The whole visuals. I mean, my God, I felt like a lot of moments were literally real. Like that's how great the camera is, and that's why I'm very okay with how James Cameron does it because the visuals pay off. That's why I would recommend people seeing it alone. To be honest with you, get it on, go to IMAX, get the 3D version. I watched it in IMAX 3D, totally worth it. I mean, I still believe it's worth it. And like I said earlier, I overall didn't feel like this was a 3-hour movie. Yeah, I know it obviously was because I didn't get back till really late because I think my movie was at 10:45. I like the late movies, and I guess now I'm regretting because I wanted to make a video with all the knowledge and stuff in my head, but now it's 3 in the morning and I'm tired. But yeah, no, the acting was great. Overall, the visuals are really good, and even with most of the story, I felt like the pacing of it was fine for the most part. There were some parts of it I was like, okay, well, you know, like yeah, they do like the whole like Colonel and Colonel kind of goes to the Ash tribe and then he falls in love with her. He's like, yo, I can fix her, you know. He's like, I can save her, I can fix her. And then they give him like shroom or they give him like some form of drug, and then he's like, oh man, like then he gets starts tripping out, and then she starts doing all the voodoo magic with him. And then she's like respecting his mind. Then he's like, hey, yo, you've never had a man like me. You know, we'll be equals. That's why you need a man who's going to, pretty much put you in your place. And she's like, I do, low key. And then they got together. And then he got a little bit of the fever for the Navi. And then he, you literally see him later in the movie. Then he's all dressed up in his attire and he's got like the markings and stuff. And that's where his whole character arc was. And I guess I'll get into this a little bit with, I guess I'll lead this into negatives. And this is where one of the negatives I'll mention is that I felt like his character arc was kind of underwhelming a little bit because they pretty much took him on this like roller coaster and there was like Jake Sully was trying to sit down and tell him like, hey, open your eyes, you're not the same man, you're in a new body. Like he has like at least 2 or 3 moments with him where he's like expressing this type of emotion or whatever you call it. He was having like a feel good moment with him. And then, his ignorance, right? He's like, we gotta, this isn't right. They're the Navi. We have to go after them. That kind of played a little bit into a factor of it. Well, okay, that's fine for the most part. Like I said, I didn't really have any issues with it that much. But I just eventually, like, I only had issues with it towards the end of the movie when I was like, okay, like, where are we going here? Like, and then eventually he got into this arc of getting disrespected by the general because she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna put you in your place. Like you're gonna be benched. You're gonna be on the go play left bench, bro. You're done. You're sidelined. You're benched. Get out of here." So that's where I thought that was gonna be like the main catalyst for him, and the colonel would be like, "Well, I'm gonna try to change this Ash tribe, and I'm gonna try to like I wasn't expecting him to be like this hero, but I thought he was gonna maybe be like an anti-hero a little bit." But no, during the big battle scene, like the Na'vi were pretty much winning the most of the time, and then he came in there out of left field and was like, "Oh, I'm gonna attack all the Na'vi," and I was like kind of confused there because I was like, "Well, dude, you've been getting disrespected, and even when you landed on the base, they were like, get these people out of here. We don't want the Na'vi there," and it's like. I don't know. I just kind of felt like eventually we would see the colonel wake up to that idea, especially if he wants to have a relationship with his kid. Didn't really see that kind of develop there. You see, I got in my script here. But here's where it gets a little messy. The film juggles a lot of subplots. Jake's son has his own adventure. Natiria's got her own arc. Spider got caught in between worlds. And if it's not the bad, not the pacing is bad, it actually flies by. You can easily have trimmed the subplot or two to keep the movie and things more focused. And then there's the Quaritch. He's all in on the RDA. Then he is kind of lost in the sauce, never really committing to any deeper arc. It's more of like a movie teaser complexity, but it really doesn't fully deliver. Yeah, and that's when I wrote this out. I was I, I liked, like I said, for the most part I was able to sit there and I thought all the subplots were good in their own sense. I just believe it got a little bit to the point where it's like, okay, now we're gonna get the kid going on his like water adventure and we're gonna be seeing all that. And then I think I said earlier, like my God, that man is going through so many different animals. Like I honestly felt bad for how many animals he was going through. Like he was butchering them left and right. Like if I'm sure they're all talking in the corner, they're like, "Hey, yo, we don't want him to ride. We don't want him to be the rider, bro. Get us someone new. This guy is murdering us left and right. Like my God, like he had no conscience or sympathy for these things at all. Like they're supposed to be the people of that homeland. You know, they're supposed to be all this tree huggers and shit, and they weren't even caring. He wasn't even caring about them. They definitely had this hyper focus on him being like a human, or at least with the mother's perspective, and there was this whole deep dive with her and Jake on that point. Like I didn't mind a lot of the emotional scenes, but it kind of did feel a lot of like Avatar 2 in some chunks. Like it was a big major sea battle in the same location, same things, and that's where I thought some of the story got a little repetitive in some parts, but because of how great the visuals were, and I thought, you know, maybe my standards with movies have been so bad lately, where when I see a movie like this, I'm like, whoa. Like there's a few movies where I've been like, oh, I've been falling asleep at because I just been getting so tired at. But this one, I was really surprised. I was able to sit most of the time and kind of go through it, and I felt like it was okay. But like I said, there were some things I didn't care for. There were some things I thought could have been better. I overall thought that all the actors did great. I thought the quality of the movie was good. I believe that for a first time watch, definitely worth it to go to IMAX. Um, but in the end, I do recommend, this is what my script says, you know, to keep me a little bit on track. In the end here, I do recommend seeing Fire and Ash at least once. The visuals are alone worth it, worth the ticket, and the acting is fantastic. James Cameron does know how to deliver an epic experience, even if the story feels a little bit overstuffed. If you're an Avatar fan, or if you even like grew up a little bit with watching the Blue People, I would say this is a must-watch for you. Definitely put it on your schedule if you can. And you know, hey, if more people see it, then we can potentially see the overall version of James Cameron's universe. Because I believe he says that this one does not hit the numbers it does. We will not see, I believe, the full 7 movies he has planned for this. And for someone who's waited most of my life to see this, I would like to see the full vision plan out. I would not mind it because he's invested at least 10 years of his life into this whole franchise alone. He hasn't really made any other movies because he's been so focused on Avatar. But he's spending a lot of money on Avatar and he has to hope that it pays off. And if the box office doesn't sell, maybe we won't see it, and this is like it'll be the way they end it. Like I said, I thought earlier that we were going to be getting more of a Navi focused story. It wasn't. It was RDA focused. That's fine. I wouldn't mind if the fourth one does come out and then they kind of focus more on Jake Sully trying to recruit everyone. But I don't believe that that's ultimately going to happen because I think they're going to focus on the son. I believe that the son, and you could tell that there was a scene because they had all of them, like they were banished or whatever, because in the second movie there was this guy, or there was this whale that was part of a clan. Like there's a bunch of, all these whales have clans. They're like the ancestors to like the water tribe. And he was like, I guess, late for a battle, and these people were, or these whales were getting like butchered, and their juices were getting, I say juices, but they're like brain formula or whatever, was getting taken by the humans because it sells for hell amount of money on Earth. So that was all happening, and his entire tribe died for, I think, maybe one whale survived or 2 whales survived. But I think it was one whale, and they said multiple times, "I'm the last one of my tribe. I need I need, I want to tell my story," because he wanted to tell the story to like the elder whales. And the elder whales didn't want to listen to him, and then so Jake Sully, even though Jake Sully finally went on this like, oh, I'm gonna put my crown back on and I need to recruit everyone again, because he kept mentioning how he didn't want to do that again, which we all want to see it, but we're not going to see it. But he finally puts his drip back on. He goes out and grabs his banshee from the first movie, and he comes back. And then he couldn't even convince the whales, and that's where the son came in and was like, no, we have to do this. He's like kind of more pushy. He because like I said, Jake Sully in the first one was main character. I'm gonna say main character energy, but that's kind of what he was. He was getting shit done. He cared a little bit. He had, they showed good sides of him, but you could tell that they're kind of shifting the story less on Jake Sully. Yes, it's still based around Jake Sully, but now it's kind of going more in the direction that I believe his son will take the reins and the leadership and become this, I guess, the true leader of what they need to be. And I'm assuming they're going to eventually try to kill off Jake Sully because I don't know how you can maybe keep both of them around on screen. But I don't know. Maybe I guess maybe James could switch up some of the story. And if he is watching this, overall, man, great job in the movie. I thought it was really good. I would like to personally see more Jake Sully take more of the light because I believe that's his story. This is his story. But if they want to go in the direction that they want to go focus on the son, I guess that's okay. Like I would watch the fourth and fifth and sixth and seventh one if that's the case. I would like to see maybe him cut down the film a little bit because I wouldn't mind seeing a more. I personally like a 3 hour movie, but I know for an average viewer that may be harder, especially with a lot of the TikTok brain rot that people have now, so they can't even last. They can't even watch a 10-minute video, yet alone a 3 hour movie. So that's where I think they may have to chop it down a little bit. Even though, like for me, like I'm a movie buff, I can sit there and watch that all day. I really do. I really can. All right, so let's go to Avatar 3 real quick. I'm on Twitter. I want to check some of the comments a little bit. But yeah, that is overall my movie recommendation. I would recommend seeing it for anybody who didn't watch it yet. I still think it's worth the watch. Go watch it in theaters. I mean, for you guys want just a good casual movie just to kind of forget the world. You say, oh, I want to go watch Pandora. Go ahead and watch it. I really do think it's worth it. Let's look at some reviews here. All right, let's drink some water. I don't want to make this review too long. I want to make it like a quick review and just drop some of my opinions. All right, let's drop some of the script. All right, I think I'm in a good spot here. All right, let's see what King says. Peak cinematic experience, mind-blowing storytelling, visuals are the best Avatar movie in the franchise. Only downside, some of the scenes are repetitive and slightly predictable. I do agree with that. They show a little scene here. I don't know if I'm gonna get butchered because of this. I hope not. Mr. Cameron, it's just a quick second here, okay? Looks like chicken. Bro, you gotta be kidding me. Low key though, that does seem interesting, but yeah, it does look like he got a little. Jake Sully did finish on that. Um, yeah, I mean, I would definitely see for a once in a lifetime experience, right? Like I don't know, it's definitely worth the watch. Is it better than two? Best in the franchise? Yeah, I would say I would say that this is probably like Avatar 2.5. It's like, no, I wouldn't say it's truly a standalone movie. I believe you kind of should watch the second movie just to understand where the world's even at. I did like kind of some of the scenes where they went back to, like they did some kind of homage stuff, which I thought was really cool. At the very end of the movie with Jake, I guess I'll explain this. At the very end of the movie with Jake, they did this whole scene where Spider feels like recognized, like they do the "I see you," and because of that, he connect. Oh yeah, for context, he got one of them things too, them hair pieces. So now he can connect and do all the stuff with that as well. That's what also happened with the fungi thing. So he was able to pretty much pull that down. He connected. He went underwater. He did all that. And then the scene was like they brought back pretty much all the original crew, like the original chief was there, and they had all the family, and then eventually one of the princesses in the water tribe died too, so she was there, and then did this whole thing where I see you, and they put his hand on him, and he had like this moment. He was like, "Wow, everyone's accepting me now. Isn't this great? Yay!" And that's where I felt like the story was a little focused on Spider, especially with the ending with where there was this whole fight scene with the Colonel, and eventually the Colonel, he like Spider was falling off, so he just sat. After Spider was about to literally shoot him with the bow, he then fell off the cliff, and then so he saves him, and then he couldn't pull him up, so that's where Jake had to grab him and pull him up all the way. And then they had this like talking moment where Jake was attempting to like convince Colonel of like, oh, so, come back to the good side, like listen to the Navi, and then he had like kind of like a Palpatine moment where he fell off the edge of the edge of the cliff and was like, oh, I can't, because after the Navi people showed up and they were all threatening him, and he was like, oh, I ain't dealing with this. Peace, and he dipped out through the back. So I don't know. We could probably see in the fourth movie. We'll probably see him return in some Palpatine or Boba Fett format. Who knows? It's Disney. They'll probably do some bullshit like that. Where'd you watch it? Released early in Australia. The downside is the story could have been so much better if they went slightly different route. I would like to know the context of what he's specifically referring to, because I actually kind of do agree. If they were, I would like to know a little bit more though. I feel like in a way that Way of the Water Part 2, then Avatar 3, yeah, but it wasn't really a problem for me. I just felt like the ending could have been more impactful. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it was a whole 3 hour movie, and then nothing really happened. The family stayed together. Like the whole thing is obviously, and I don't mind the movie having a little bit of like, hey, a family is a good thing. Keep your family together. And I think we, in our culture, we need to have ideas to promote family ideals. Like I want to see that, and that's where I'm like, okay with that. But at the same time, it was really like, like no one really died. Sorry, spoiler right there. No one really died. No one really impactful died, if any. I'm really trying to recall. I don't think anybody died. See, now I'm watching. James Cameron reacts to fan asking if 30 years of Avatar was a waste of his talent. I'm feeling fulfilled as an artist when those critical fans become filmmakers, they will make those types of decisions for themselves or just say the fuck out of it. Yeah, honestly, I feel like this is his baby. This is his project. This is stuff he wants to do. And look, I think he has this plan with Avatar, and I wouldn't mind it seeing fulfilled. Oh, that's cool. You kind of yeah. There was this bow scene that I was like, they show him having to make this bow, and because his mother was kind of like conflicted if she truly loved him or whatever. So he makes his bow, and then obviously the water girl was like, head over heels for him. There wasn't really much to that after that. It just kind of like, again, that was just another subplot that was just happening because he found the bow and arrow underwater. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that's the same bow and arrow from the movie as she's holding it right here. Or maybe this is in the third movie. I think this is one, two, three, if I'm not mistaken. So I think this is the second movie. And that's where it's like, he fixed the bow and it's like this whole scene. But there really wasn't much to that. It was just another part of the movie. Absolutely spectacular, mesmerizing. You feel the burns, angers, hard emotions. That third act, holy shit. James Cameron in God mode. Entire Tornamaku peak evolution. Again, must watch in 3D. Yeah, like honestly, I thought this whole scene was like kind of really good. It was just pretty much the Colonel getting hooked up on shrooms. See, Avatar, Fire and Ash. Honestly, James Cameron's done it again. The world Pandora feels darker, raw, emotionally deeper, visually. It's not a film, it's an experience. Every frame looks like a movie painting. Yeah, I'm telling you guys, the visuals are really good. Story and emotion. This time it's more personal, more intense. Family, sacrifice. There wasn't much sacrifice, but identity and survival hit harder than before. Second half climax, the film truly elevates. Post interval, the climax is powerful, emotional, and visual jaw dropping. Technical brilliance, VFX, CGI, sound, and BGM are all on another level. Hollywood benchmarks of overall Avatar 3 proves right. I don't know. I think he's a little bit in the go-go juice, but yeah, I think at the end of the day, he's genuinely accurate about this for the most part. I did enjoy. Oh yeah, and then this was one of the scenes where she pretty much like this bitch had the power to use her little hair thing to like kind of like force people to her will. And this girl, like I said, was the clone of the doctor from the first movie. She has this like connection to the mother. So she's able to, and that's how they kind of had the fight to even begin with, was that she did this whole prayer to the mother, and then they show, oh my God, the RDA shot them, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. And, because they went down underwater and shot the water tribe's version of the tree. And for the most part, It was a good scene. I enjoyed it, but she finally connected to the mother. But she needed like the power of friendship in order to do it. She couldn't do it by herself. She had really no like character development there. So she put it up there. She put her hair on there. She was like, "Oh, I can't do it." And then the spider just was like, he appeared out of nowhere. It's like, we can continue. Yeah, let's go meet the mother. And I'm just like, why the fuck is he here? This should just be her thing, her character getting this. And then the daughter, the little girl, then randomly fucking appeared out of nowhere. So they were like, stay in the cave, and she's like, I'm not staying in the cave. I'm gonna go out there and in the battle and combat and do it. So then she kind of like unlocked this like mother, a connection to the mother, and she like recruited pretty much the animals and creatures of Pandora to help them in the combat, which was one of the main reasons why the turn happened in the battle. But she pretty much, this girl here used that girl's special ability on her and kind of humbled her and made her drop the gun because she was threatening to kill her mom. Just came out of the theater from Avatar 3, and I'm very disappointed. Someone in the writing team was extremely horny and over Varag, and I get them, but that was this bit mad. Yeah, there was kind of like, they were kind of, I don't want to say sexualizing it, but there was definitely was some stuff about it. And like, look, I'm not entirely against that, but at the same time, like, I could kind of see where they're coming from here. I just watched Avatar 3 Fire and Ash, and I'm not even joking. This movie is so fucking good. I'm at a loss for words. It's crazy. This made me cry so many times. It had me on edge of my seat, sitting back. My back was aching after. God, I love this movie so much. Yeah. Overall, I thought the movie was good. Like I said, I wouldn't go that thing, as far as like, oh my God, it's the best thing since sliced bread. But I definitely felt like it was one of the better movies of the year, for sure. Definitely worth the watch in theaters. Avatar 3 is very good. Surprised me in some of the good and some of the bad, but the 3D was excellent. Yeah, I recommend seeing this in 3. If you're gonna go, just pay a little bit extra. I get it. Everyone's a little broke, but if you're gonna go to the movie anyway, definitely worth picking up the 3D. Let's see what this guy said. Avatar 3 looks incredible. The acting is solid, but the story fell flat for me. Enjoyable to watch. If you like the first two, like this one. Yeah, if you guys overall enjoyed the first two movies, you're most likely going to enjoy this one. That's what I'm saying. I think you should go out really ultimately and make your own decision on that. For a movie literally called Fire and Ash, Avatar 3 has a distinct lack of fire and ash. It also has the exact same story beats yet again, except somehow it's even worse. I was bored in about 2 hours and 45 minutes. The novelty of the VFX is gone. It's just boring now. Yeah, like there definitely was some repetitiveness. Like we talked about that a little bit earlier. And I also believe we talked about, I don't know, maybe I didn't mention it. I thought I mentioned it. I don't remember now. I'm getting a little tired. But yeah, I felt like there wasn't enough of the Fire and Ash tribe. And I did mention it. Yeah, I was mentioning how we should have like it was pretty much like we get the beginning of them, like they appear, they show their threat, and then we just get this little bonfire scene with them, and literally after this point we really don't see or hear of them, like, and that's where I thought this movie was originally going to be more focused on the Ash tribe. I thought they were going to be a bigger and badder tribe, but then they ended up we ended up finding out that they were just more of a small group of people who don't believe in the mother. They're kind of like are they like the demons, or I think wizards, witches, if you want to kind of put them in that category. That's what they are. They do the dark magic. But he's definitely right in that sense. Avatar 3 is an astonishing achievement in a film production and comprehensive and extraordinary movie. According to the Screen Roar website, this is the most outstanding installment of the trilogy, telling more complex dramatic story than the previous two. I wouldn't, yeah, I wouldn't say that the story is that crazy and complex. Just there's just a lot of things happening at once, and then eventually when Jake Sully gets captured, that's where they had to combine the story into back to the main line. Worst Avatar film to date. It was like watching a different version of Avatar: The Way of the Water. No good script, no good conflict. James Cameron got away with Avatar 2 because of all the spectacular visuals, but the tech trick didn't work this time. Yeah, I guess you couldn't, you can argue that this wasn't like you couldn't use this as a major selling point, but I still thought the visuals were worth the watch in theaters. All right, we'll read maybe like one or two more reviews, and we can call it. Let's see what we're about. Yeah, we can call it here. Completed Avatar 3, it's good. Same thing like Avatar 2, except another villain portion. Same interval, and climax 2, but theatrical experience. Yep, four fire emojis. Nothing is new. I felt some of the scenes repeated like part 1 and part 2. Yeah, fair take. Avatar is a visually stunning like its predecessor, but not as engaging throughout. He gave it a 3-star rating. I'm assuming that's out of 5. Yes, there are many scenes in the third installment that make you bounce off your seat. Very true. But then there are also several moments where you almost find yourself yawning. While it keeps you visually involved, the repetitive elements and the constant been there, seen it before feeling, it could feel exhausting. A decent watch overall at the box office. It might get affected by the, what is this? Durwood Rider. I have no idea what that is. Yeah, I mean, again, another fair take for the most part. Biggest films of 2025: Superman, Captain America, Avatar 3, Snow White, Jurassic World, Mission Impossible, Fantastic Four, 28 years. Captain America, like winter, like Captain America, Red Hulk or whatever. Bro, put that number 3. Yeah, no. If we're going based off this list, because I've seen all these, probably say Superman, Avatar 3. I would not. Superman, Avatar 3, Mission Impossible. Jurassic World. Oh, no. 28 years later, Jurassic World. Fantastic Four, Snow White. I mean, fuck Rachel Zegler. I can't do that. Weird. Story for another time. Alright, I'll read one more. I said I'll stop. Avatar 3. Okay, well, fuck. This is in different language. Alright, well, now let's read another one. Few things hit quite like the opening scene of a new Avatar movie in Dolby 3D. The third installment brings back the visual magic of the first two, with the world that keeps expanding and expanding what are arguably the franchise's best action sequences so far. Natiri is given some major moments here. I did like that. Definitely the standout character for me than the previous one. Oh wait, definitely. Oh, I missed the line. The main issue with the film is how repetitive it feels compared to the previous one, and how the pace eventually slowed down by a few dragging subplots. Though it provides the same sense of beauty, epicness, and ambition, Fire and Ashes ultimately raises questions that is it still enough? And I do believe that's a good, fair comment to end on. And like I said, for you kind of got a little gist of what people thought of. You heard my take talk about it, so I would recommend if you guys. First off, I appreciate you guys staying this long. Like, comment, subscribe. I'd love to keep doing more of these videos. I enjoy making these videos. I enjoy just hearing conversations, and I want to know what you guys think. I want to please leave your comments below. Tell me what your thoughts are about the movie. I'm going to see if you guys like it or not. I want to know where the Avatar fans are, if there is any out there. Because I'm an Avatar fan, I genuinely do enjoy this franchise, and I want to see it continue. I want to see it more focused on Jake Sully. I would like to see more of the Na'vi. I would kind of just want to start maybe figuring out how we can get rid of the RDA, and then we can focus more on the tribes and kind of the whole world as a whole. Because I understand the human colonization aspect of it, but at some point, I just want to. We've kind of beat this horse down a few times. I want to see it moved past. So, overall, good movie. Recommend worth watching in 3D. Definitely worth recommend going to see it, at least for a first time watch if you haven't seen it before. I don't know if I would see it more than once, but yeah, maybe give it a few days and then go watch it again. Like I do relatively enjoy it for the most part. Thought it was a good film. So there's my quick takes about it. My 33-minute take on it. Appreciate you guys staying with as long as you guys did. Like, comment, subscribe, throw some love to my channel. Watch some of my other videos. Let me know if you guys thoughts, questions on those if you like those. So appreciate the love and support, guys. Thank you.